This now is where things start to get real. Taking my watered down PVA, I'm going to coat some of this green, and then using my ground foam, homemade, there's like 9 car sponges in there, minced up through the Kenwood, and coat the paint into the shaker. What I did to make out of my own special technical engineering skills, and dust it all over for the first layer. First though, PVA. Look at that, nice liberal coating of PVA ready for the application of my grass. And I'm going to ask Abby, who's just got up.
Please don't film me.
Okay. I'm going to ask Abby now to film me sprinkling so that you've got a bit of live action. This is what constitutes live action in my world.
You're ridiculous.
I know. So here we go. All I'm doing is making sure I get a really good covering of my ground foam grass over the whole bit that I've got the glue onto. Okay, this is going to give me texture, it's going to give me colour, it's going to give me a bit more realism. It's looking good. Now I made this ground foam, ooh, good month, 6 weeks back, maybe even more, maybe a couple of months. And that's so it's nicely dried out, but it looks to me like it's clumped up a little bit. It's a bit of a pity.
Texture.
Yeah, texture. I did have it as a really nice fine powder. I've still got a lot of it as a fine powder, but some of it isn't as fine as the rest. Now, you'll see that it's going everywhere. It's going all over the ballast, all over the rails and all the rest of it. This isn't a problem for the simple reason that I've already flipped this on its side and knocked off all the loose stuff onto the floor. I've got a veneered floor, not a veneered floor, I've got a laminate floor. That was not so good, was it? Yeah, you can laugh.
Yep.
Track pins. So what will happen afterwards, once this is all dried, I'll knock it off, and then I can sweep and hoover to recover any excess grass that's lying around, and reapply with more glue, because once this is stuck down and the loose is taken off, I'll be able to add more thinned out, watered down PVA, which I can spray on with a spray bottle, or I can drip on or put on with a jug or something. As long as you take it slow so you don't kind of like disturb the stuff that's down. Let's get it nice and thick and heavy on the side there, because that's where it will show. Now obviously a lot of this is going to be covered up with platforms and buildings and so on, but that doesn't matter at all, because obviously some of the platforms and buildings will be moved here and there if I feel like changing things, playing with things, or what have you. So there we go, it's all going on. Lovely, lovely, lovely jubbly. I hate that phrase. It does remind me of holidays, because everywhere you go in the Arab world or South America, even in Cambodia, I had people say, lovely jubbly. Where are you from? England. Lovely jubbly. Fine, fine. It's kind of something that follows you around, same as that Mexican artist. Can't think of her name right now. The one with the moustache. The woman. What was her name?
Talking about Frida Kahlo, that's a bit weird.
Frida Kahlo, yeah. Frida Kahlo. It's a bit what?
It's a bit rude.
What's rude?
The woman with the moustache.
What's she had a moustache?
She had a unibrow.
Yeah, as well.
I'm not known for that.
Unibrow and moustache. 2 moustaches. One above her eye.
Don't be rude.
Well, you didn't do her any
Right,
harm.
can I stop filming now because my arm hurts?
Well, it didn't do her any harm, because she was still bed hopping left, right and centre. Rather promiscuous, as was her older husband. There's a very good film about her starring Selma Hayek.
I don't know who that is.
She's an actress who played Frida Kahlo in a very good film about Frida Kahlo.
Wow, Dad. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to stop filming now.
Oh yeah, look at that. So that's that central oval all covered now. So that's going to sit there and dry. Now the thing is, you want it to bed down. Okay, so go across with your hand, press it down so that it sticks better, because obviously the ground foam soaks up the PVA, or the watered down PVA should I say, really well. So you know, you don't want it just to be making the slightest bit of contact at the bottom. You want to try and get as much contact as possible. Don't worry about leaving the shape of your fingers, because when you water this down, or when you spray this down with some more, okay, that's going to fill that in and just add to the texture and the contouring. So we're all fine. And anything that isn't going to soak it up and stick it down is now going to obviously still be dry and still fall off when you turn the table, as it were, onto its side and tap and bang, to then be hoovered up and reused elsewhere on the layout. So we have made good progress this morning. That's actually starting to look like something. Well, well, look at that. First layer of grass applied. On green fingered I am. Ha ha ha. It's all over the place because obviously it's gone over the edge of where it needs to be, but the glue hasn't gone everywhere, so that's not a major problem. Obviously this will just stick where the glue is, which is at the edges. So as you know, there's something called Sod's Law. Sod's Law dictates many things. One of these is that you will always run out of PVA right at the very end. Look at that. How annoying. So I've now got to go and get some more PVA before I can finish that little bit. It's not an issue, because I'm going to need a couple of bottles at least to continually reapply to stick all this down and make it sort of like permanent. But to actually have to go out on a cold, wet Sunday lunchtime, Valentine's Day no less, not that I care about that in the traditional sense. Woohoo! Now you've done it, Mr. Crane. It's all done. Look at that. Look at that. There's my first coating. That's all been put on, glued on, tamped down. Look at that. It's looking good. And I've gone around the edges as well. So parts of the track where it butts up to the ballasting will have grass growing around it. And the piles of ballast as well. There and there. Grass growing on it and around it. I've done my cutting. It'll come up to the edge of the road. Look at that. It's all looking pretty groovy. Now it's got to stay overnight, and then I flip it down onto the floor, hoover it up, job's a good one. Look at that. It's a closer angle. Oh, I think that's starting to look quite effective.